Nate Silver, you're fired. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today we're going to be talking about why Nate Silver was not a good forecaster for this election and why I actually beat him this year. Hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. And so we see here on his final day, he had Harris, the slight favorite to win the presidential election on November 5th, after having Trump being the favorite for a couple of weeks at that point. And what's pretty interesting with this is that Donald Trump, throughout the entire cycle, in the entirety of my model since August 22nd, so basically like almost since the beginning of this one, Donald Trump was ahead in the popular vote the entire cycle. He was never behind in the popular vote. He was always ahead. No matter what you did, no matter what day you held the election on in the past 6 months, Donald Trump would have won and would have won the popular vote. Nate Silver's model decided to swing around a bunch of times for click farming engagement, basically. The electoral vote average was significantly way more off than mine. I had Donald Trump with 83% odds to win on the final day, and I had consistent odds the entire cycle. My model basically had him over 70% odds or higher the entire time to win the election. And looking at this, Harris, I had her odds pretty low. And given the actual results, her odds were pretty low because at this point, North Carolina and Georgia were pretty much gone for her. Arizona was a complete done deal for her. So was Nevada at that point. I mean, if you're losing Nevada by 3.3%, you're pretty much done in Nevada at that point. And in Arizona, we basically could have locked these in for Trump, and to even an extent North Carolina and Georgia. And really the Rust Belt, especially Pennsylvania being a 2-point win, she was basically locked out of the Electoral College. Like, her odds were very slim to win the election. I'm talking about being super slim to win the general. Very slim odds to win the general election. Now, in terms of the states that we got wrong, we got equal amount of states incorrect. However, I was able to predict the winner's result completely. Like, at least the states that Donald Trump won with, I was able to predict those. He had Wisconsin and Michigan going Democrat, and he was off by about 3 points there. So again, not very great. I actually compared our grading side by side. In my grading, you basically say, did he predict the winner correct? And you yes or no. He's got two wrong, and you see here in states that he got within 5 points. The same way I grade myself. We basically were at about the same. He scored like 2 points higher than me in this department, but in terms of the fundamentals, like, completely off. I had Trump plus 4.2 in the popular vote, and he's leading it by 3.1. I was way more on the money on that than this was, by far. Not even close to that. So she is absolutely did not win the popular vote by 2.1%. He predicted the same margin of victory for Clinton for whatever reason, which is super duper weird. Electoral votes very, very off in that department, and the odds of the winner winning the election, he essentially got that incorrect as well. And what's pretty interesting is the states that were important. I mean, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania were not Democrat or tied. He also had Iowa, only a couple points of a win. I mean, the forecasted margin in Iowa was very, very low, especially Ohio, Florida, Texas. His margins were abysmal in some of the big states. I was a lot more accurate in those, including places like Illinois, California, Texas, Florida, New Jersey. I was significantly closer in those races than some of these other races as well. So again, Very interesting. And you even see here popular vote favorability, Harris 76%. I would have not put that at all. Like, not even at all. And you saw Harris was the favorite to win the Electoral College on election day. And that's not what ended up happening at all. So in terms of his forecasted margins, we were about the same in terms of the grading system. But in terms of the fundamentals and what his model had at the very end, he was completely off, like completely off. His model basically predicted a victory of this. This is what I'll basically show you what his election model pretty much predicted for election day. It's pretty sad. He basically had Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania all going in the Democrat column. That's literally what happened. I mean, we can literally look at what's happening because in order to get 271, that's basically the only way you can get that in a realistic scenario. This is pretty much the only way you would have gotten Nate Silver's forecasted win, which would have been 3 states off, so more than mine, and Michigan and Pennsylvania would have been dead wrong, and Arizona would have been super dead wrong, like ridiculously dead wrong at that point. And so in terms of who was more accurate, I was more accurate by far, even though we score about the same in my own grading system. By far, in terms of giving the chance of Trump to win the election, the fact that I said it was not a 50-50 race and he said it was a toss-up, he even wrote an article about it, the race was a toss-up election. This was, Nate was never a election. The Rust Belt, and I expect Pennsylvania being 2 points, North Carolina being almost 4, Georgia being about 2 and change, Arizona being about almost 6, Nevada being over 3. That's not a like 50-50 race. That's a Trump is the favorite to win race. And so at this point, guys, Nate Silver was a failed sports handicapper according to Richard Barris. He should have never gotten in this business. He's always been massively incorrect. Even now, when he could have easily predicted Trump the winner in his model, he didn't even have it. He didn't even have it. And his caveat is, oh, actually, guys, when you look at my modeling, the most consistent result that I have in the election is actually 312 with a 6% chance. Yeah, but buddy, that was not a 6% chance to happen. That was like a way more percentage chance of happening. If we actually go to my Electoral College histogram, you're going to see this. I wonder if it'll actually load. Let's go ahead and pull this up. But if it does not load, the histogram, for whatever reason, doesn't load. I guess it's not loading right now. Well, essentially, it was not a 6% chance in my model to even realistically happen. The chance of him doing better was like way greater by far, like not even close. If we look at the simulation, so let's go ahead and take a look at the simulation model. So if we were to look at this and go all the way down and see what was happening in the model, if we were to go all the way down and look at the histogram, so we can run it and see what was going on here. It was not even close. Look at this, 306, 314. And this was an older run, by the way. So, like, clearly there was a huge deviance in who was winning and who wasn't. Nate Silver on his end basically had a bunch of statistical possibilities for her to win the Electoral College, all combining like at pretty high rates. So to me, it just doesn't make any sense at all. Cumulative distribution, we could see that he had basically them at equal odds to win. Like, this was not an equal race at all. Not an equal race at all. He tricked a bunch of conservative people into believing him. Like, you're going to tell me that the Electoral College was swinging around this much back and forth throughout the entire cycle? No, it was not. Donald Trump was winning this election for about over a year now. He was ahead for about over a year now, for quite some time. He was over a year now winning the election. This was not a race that was swinging back and forth. That was not the case at all. The case was that Donald Trump really was the extreme favorite to win this election. And I have officially fired Nate Silver from forecasting. listen to me from now on. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.